right, back to where we were. For those of you online, you'll get a little update on who I am. This is Colleen Specht, the new executive director, but I'll go into a little more detail further down the road. Tonight's agenda, we're going to do some introductions, community life team update, and a development update. So, right along, introductions. Next page. Okay, so Brookfield residential development team is Matt Chase is here. He is the Vice President, Community Associations. Mike McMillan is our Vice President of Land. And AJ Zorn, our Land Development Director. Your board of directors are Matt Chase. He's the cover that we have named them some different things tonight. Community governance guru. Okay, AJ Zorn, he's the land development extraordinaire. Okay, very good. Allison Grotzinger is our marketing whiz. And Armando Rueda, am I saying that right?
Rueda. You gotta roll your tongue or something.
Rueda.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be difficult for me. He's in land development and housing, so all that stuff together, we call him the cat herder. You know, if you're trying to herd cats, that kind of thing. So that's what these guys do now. What really makes it great that they're on your board of directors, that they all have expertise in the field of land and marketing and everything it takes for to make a successful community. So we've got a great team there. Now we move to our internal team, the community life team. Of course, there's me, your new executive director. Paul is your director of community engagement, or the master of fun, I like to call him. He does a great job. Angie and I used to work together at another community association management company. So we know each other very well. It's great. Really great. You guys got lucky with her, I can tell you. John LaRoque, who's our facilities manager, just make sure everything is running tight, spiffy, working. He's just a master of multiple things. He's just really knowledgeable, and he's quite a card. And then we have Chris Sandoval, who isn't in the room, but he's the one that does violation drives. He also goes around and works on all your ACC requests. So anything that you want to do to the outside of your place, no matter how small you think it is, at least ask him first, so that he can tell you if you need to submit a requisition or not. It's better to have to send it in and have him go, no, you're good, than to put something up and then in a month he's coming over and goes, you need to take that down. That's not fun. So always ask him first. So then there's me. Ta-da! So I grew up on a farm in Michigan with 4 brothers and a sister. That was our life. We ran the farm. That was our business. After high school, I was like, nope, don't want to be a farmer. Moved to Florida. There for many, many years. I had a daughter. She went off to college. I moved to Texas in 2019. Stayed here for about 3.5, 4 years in New Braunfels, and then ended up going to Jacksonville for the last 1.5 years, which kind of felt like just a long vacation now when I think about it. But my fiance loves Texas. I mean, loves New Braunfels and San Antonio and Austin. He just loves this area. So first opportunity he got, back we came. So that's why we're here. And as I said before, I had reached out to Matt and Brookfield before about maybe working for them, and now I just finally came back around, and I'm so excited to be here. And one of my last things that I just got done doing is I got my bachelor's degree in business after multiple years of just kind of letting it sit there. Life happens. So I got that done, and a few years ago, my fiance introduced me to karate. So I'm a blue belt in karate. Love it. I totally recommend it for anybody, any age. We got a guy in class right now. He's 83. He just started. So that's great. It's great exercise, great mental exercise. So I'm really looking forward to being here at Easton Park. You can ask me all kinds of questions. The next thing we're going to look at is the community life team update. So we had, recently, you guys took part in a survey. It's very important for the developer, for Brookfield. They take that information and they actually read it and work on it and keep it in mind when they're doing new things. We have 3,500 residents that actually are in the community, not homes, but residents. And we got 823 responses, which is the biggest response that we've had from any survey so far. So awesome job. Thank you for putting in your input. So let's see what else I got here for you guys. Yeah, so the impact of our amenity survey is that we really do want to enhance your living experience and make sure that we're moving in the right direction, that it fits what you guys are envisioning. This survey was very helpful in really showing the demographics, which is really important. Sometimes you think you know, but you don't really know, so that works good. We want to definitely build some stronger community bonds. I know Paul's very into that, the whole team's very into that, so we'll keep on working on things to help get everybody involved. We love volunteerism, community projects. We can do some volunteer work. Let's all get together and really put Easton Park on the map in the minds of everybody in Austin, but that's where they want to live because those people really got it going on. Okay. We have some winners from our wine country cottages that won their Fredericksburg weekend. I haven't done that yet. Have you guys gone to Fredericksburg?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as I hear, it's really neat.
Oh, yeah.
So that was Lauren Novak that won that. A 750 Visa gift card went to Jason Sierra. So, and one thing I wanted to point out before we get into some of the questions that you guys have sent in, we want to make sure that you realize we're always here. When they sent out the first notice of the town hall, we only had like 15 people respond apparently. So they're like, oh, I guess they don't have much to talk about, but that's why they canceled it. But then everybody's like, no, we want that. So because of that feedback, we said, okay, let's reschedule it. No problem. Yes, ma'am.
I never have any questions. I just want to give development. My only question would ever be, what's going on with development?
There you go.
Insert that.
That's good. That's good.
Just to let you know, so.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Nope, that's great. So that's why we brought it back. And so this time we got a flood of questions. And a lot of those questions, probably 3/4 of them had to do with individual questions concerning your specific residence, your unit, whatever it is. So what we decided to do, instead of trying to hit on every single little thing, is we have compiled that list, broken it out to whose responsibility it would fall under. So Angie, myself, John, Chris, we are all going to be diving into all those questions and responding to each person, each question individually. So get that across, so we can find out more information if we need it, so we can help you the best that we can. One of the big things that did come up that I want to address this is the shade structure, right? We've heard that a lot. So a little history, and of course I had to be told the history, so I've got it now. Is they had put in umbrellas originally, but the wind in Texas is fierce. I know you guys know it. Pull those umbrellas out, they throw them all over the place. John said one was clear over in the tree line. So we did that at first, and within a couple months they're gone. So instead of creating flying hazards and the cost of doing that, we're looking into a permanent shade structure. There's some issues with the space, got to make sure we're not drilling into something that we're not supposed to. So that's in the works. It won't happen this summer, obviously. Even if we knew exactly what we wanted and we ordered it right now, I can tell you from past experience, it takes months of time before they get it done and they put it in. So the guys are working on that right now. John actually had several bids, so they're working on that. In the meantime, question of umbrellas. You can bring your own small personal umbrella. You can put them under your own chair so that they won't fly off and get somebody. So just be really aware when you come down to the pool. If it's windy like today, probably not a good day to bring any umbrella. It'll just be inside out. might fly off. We don't want to create a hazard. So just, you're allowed to bring your own little umbrella, just be mindful of the weather, okay? That was for that.
Question, why did you guys provide a thing to hook up the umbrella? Like, why did you take that away?
Well, the reason was those bases are made for specific umbrella. So if you don't have that specific umbrella, you can't just put it in the hole and expect it to stay there. So instead of doing that and having some big umbrella that the wind could just come up and slide around, we didn't want to do that. That's because a lot of people's umbrellas won't fit.
We're gonna wait another year. It's been at least 2 years without umbrellas at 100 and something degrees, and it's
Well, it might not be 2 years.
They're not that expensive, to be honest, and, you know.
Well, for right, we just want to, honestly, the big main thing is safety. We don't want to put out a base for an umbrella and someone come along and stick an umbrella in there that really doesn't lock in well. And then you got a flying projectile.
Has anybody got hurt by an umbrella?
Well, I wouldn't want to wait until they do.
I mean, honestly.
So I'm just being, I'm always thinking risk.
The way that I feel, we've been talking for so long about that.
That'll work.
You know, the umbrellas that we had before, it was so extremely hard to close, and that's why they stayed open and they broke. You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
there's other options out there. It's just wanting to do it.
Well, we are working on it, honestly. So, and as soon as I get any updates, I'll send them out to you guys, I promise. So as soon as I hear something, you'll hear something. So moving on to our upcoming events, Paul gave me little notes. August, we have the second First Friday food truck, which is going to be Hero Euros. The second is Movies in the East, and he said that this is the last installment of the series for the year. So the movies are selected by the residents, so make sure you vote on them. And then also on the 29th and the 30th, they're doing a pearl teeth whitening. I would imagine that's in this building. For anyone who wants to sign up for that. In September, we have the First Friday food truck, Music in the Park, which is actually all Eastonite Museum musicians. So the one guy that you guys had recently, the Dusty Miller, he was at the 4th of July event, he's going to be there. But that's coming up. And then on the 14th is called East Games, which is actually put on with Optimize Daily and EP Sports Academy. So they're going to be teaming up to do a bunch of fun games and events and stuff. So, get your team together and make sure you compete together and have fun. Explorers Day is a social mixer for new and old residents. So it's just a way to get together and get to learn about the different clubs and committees and meet your neighbors. They're going to have, he's going to have games and raffle prizes. And then our big thing, which we really wanted to make sure we highlighted, is Wicked Walk in October. Last year, you guys had 4,500 people come through Wicked Walk. All of the feedback was taken in by Paul. The light issues, some of the directional issues are all going to be included this year, working on that. Big thing though is that we need volunteers. So if you have any ability to get out and help with either setting up the booths or just setting things up or just being out to direct traffic, please let us know. Get in touch with Paul because we really need volunteers for that. Great, moving right along. See, I keep things going. We are right to our developer update now. So I will turn this over to you, AJ.
All right, sounds good. All right, while they're pulling up my slides, I will say two things. One, Colleen undersold herself. She's got a lot of experience in a lot of big communities and stuff, so we're really excited to have you here. So just want to say from the land team, we're really excited to be working with you. And then also, I spent the night at Skyline Park on the 4th, and that was a fantastic event. It was so much fun. So really glad to see that Skyline's being activated that way. I think that was a great event for the community. So with that said, going through overview of a few things and then also hitting on questions that we've received on the different things happening in the development side. So first with the amenities, Pilot Park is now open. We opened that about a week or two ago, finished that up, and it's not completely finished. The last little piece is that there's actually a public art display that is going in. I've seen it fabricated. It's sitting on a loading dock. It's going to get installed mid-August, and it's a very playful piece. That's all I'll say. But once you see it installed, it's pretty cool. So we've got some abstract art in Easton, whereas this one is much more playful and fun. So we're varying up the art, but really excited to see that go in. So that's the last little cherry on top of Pilot Park. And then Union Park West, and as well as Prospect Park. Those are both parks that I'm hoping to have open within the next 2 months. So we're getting really close to finishing both of those. So we'll have those open. Yes, sir. Union Park West sits back here. Right, there's 2 pads of food truck, there's a pickleball court, there's a basketball court, there's a playground, and there's a seating area as well. So I'm getting excited about seeing that open. Yes.
Park, it's not temporary.
The Easton Park, it's gonna be there until I have a substitute for it. So with grass? Yes. Oh, you're talking about that out there? Well, that's because the dogs run on it all. So we're looking at in the off season. Well, yeah, I know. In the off season, we're going to reseed it and stuff like that. So it's kind of a regular cycle of that. It gets the heck used out of it, which is a good thing. But the other alternative to that is us just taking out the grass and putting down something that never goes away. But we think we want grass. We got to just seed it in the off season and let it continue to go. Same thing with the sticker burrs, where it's a seasonal treatment. That was something else that we heard about, is sticker burrs out there and stuff. And so that's a seasonal treatment that we're implying right now. With that said, survey responses, I was going to hit on that as well. We got the preliminary data. We're still dicing it up and finding out what areas we want to push into further, maybe with some focus groups, but a lot of good stuff. And that is stuff that we're going to use to inform future amenities and how many we have and where they're at and stuff like that. So there was a number of questions of, when are you doing this? When are you doing that? Some of them, the answer is along with the south amenity, and then other ones, we're going to look and see how we can adjust what we have in different other areas, sprinkle things here and there where it's appropriate. So we do use that data to inform our decisions on what we're providing additionally. Yes, sir. Yeah. So the second large. Right. Yes, sir. So the second large amenity is going to be on the southern half of Easton Park. So that's not to say that that's not where we're going to be able to put other stuff in other areas, but that's it's the same way that this large amenity is here. Our other large amenity is going to be on that southern half. It's the same timeline that has been discussed before. We're going to put that down there when we start building down there. And if you've driven through Prospect Park, you will see that there is a lot of Prospect Park that needs to be built and sold out. So there's progression there. So we're not building the south amenity tomorrow. It's definitely something that's in the future once we build through the rest of Easton Park. So.
Hey, AJ, this is Christy. Just a reminder, the folks online
there's
cannot
stuff
hear
that is filed right now. If you go and look at it, I mean, slaughter is going to continue from where it stops right now, and it's going to go all the way out to 183, and it's going to pass that big cell tower. So, I mean, that's general. Right, the southern half, and those roads don't exist at all right now. So those are roads we're yet to build. So. So that is a Brookfield project. So that is something that we are building. However, we are only building that when we have a reason to build it. Right now, the traffic system doesn't need that because we don't have the intensity of homes to do that. So that is again, when we move to the south, that will trigger the need for that roadway to be there, because it's going to be a induced demand that as soon as we open that, then all of Austin will start using that roadway as well. So we're only opening that when we have Easton has a need for it. So. With the second amenity center, like I said, that's when we're starting, is once we move down there. And again, what exactly is in there, that's going to be a part of, again, a lot of that good data that we just got from the survey. So, yes, sir.
So with the way the economy's gone over the last couple of years, it's kept interest rates high. And the exodus of certain companies here in the Austin area, the growth is not happening as much. Housing's kind of been stagnant. We've got houses sitting on the market for greater than 60 days.
Right.
How much is that hurting y'all? Because I mean, honestly, if you're saying that you're gonna wait until later on to build the roads, build out the infrastructure.
Right.
You know, we're looking at maybe stuff never happening or being finished because the market moves elsewhere.
It's a lot of questions that I don't think I want to give you every opinion that I have out there. Right. So, I mean, most of what we're doing is demand induced. So there's a whole sewer plan, a water plan and all that. Now, the confidence of will Easton ever get completed? 100%. This is a great community. We have a very strong market. This is temporary. Things go up and down. Austin is a great place to be. And Brookfield believes Austin's a great place to be. So will all of Easton happen? 100% yes. The timing of it, things speed up and slow down. We all thought everything was going to slow down during COVID. It slowed down for 3 months and then it accelerated to something we've never seen before. So things go like this. We're here for the long term. We're riding it out. So
Because if I look at all these family projects have been, it's gone for over a year to come back and all this is happening. And now the market's oversaturated. We have apartments on these here because they're not finished yet, but offering extra months to a lease just to entice people to come in. So we're gonna have vacancy in certain areas, you know.
there's a lot of market dynamics we're going to look at. So I don't want to brush this off like it's not. We could sit here and debate this for hours. And we do. That's what our business is, sitting there and looking at the tea leaves and trying to figure out stuff. So we're trying to shepherd this project through in the most responsible way, in the way that's best for the residents and best for overall fitting in there. So I'm going to go ahead and get through some of these updates. We'll take questions at the end of this. Okay. Yeah. Yes, I'm sorry, I forgot about that. Y'all's questions don't pick up on this microphone, so all the questions going forward, I will repeat those to everybody. And then there's one question about the green space that's behind, that sits in the middle of Union Park West. That one right now, there's no plans to do anything with that at this point. That's HOA owned. It's a sub-association. If there's any development there, that'll be looked at and voted on by the residents that are in Union Park West, but there's no further Brookfield actions that's in that area. All right, next slide. Lots of questions about trails. So for one, we have, since last time we talked, we have the trail connection that goes from Skyline over to Pilot. There's also a second connection that's going to go over there. We were waiting for a sewer line to go in, as well as the second phase of Pilot Park to get built. So there's something actually to connect to. So within the next 3 months, there'll be a second connection over there to Pilot Park from Skyline. Yep, because that's a nature trail. I'm going to come back to that theme here in a second. Flooding. Yes, we're totally on this. There's a lot of different excuses out there for us. There's ownership things and who owns this and what we can do. There's 3 large areas. The one is behind KB. That has to do with the pond that they built that they need to fix, and we are helping them as hard as we can to get that fixed. So that's one of the main areas. There's also a flooding area that's right behind Skyline, and that connection over to there. Again, it was an ownership of when things changed hands. Now that we can touch it, we had a contractor out there 3 days ago and we're looking to fix that problem. So that is a fix that is coming. And then if you look at the north side of Prospect, the connection from Discovery to Prospect, that one has to do with multiple different contractors at different stages touching it, of when we over irrigate for certain stuff and then when houses are built and things like that. So that area, that's what's pictured there, is an area there. We're addressing it. I'm not going to give any firm timelines of exactly when it's going to get fixed because it's more complicated than you think, but that is something we're keenly aware of and are attacking right now. So we're working on the flooding. Appreciate it. Thank you. For those online, we just got a compliment on the trails. So, no, sorry. There is a question with lighting. So there's a few issues with lighting. Most of the trails that are unlit right now, the nature trails, go through what we call critical water quality zones, and we are limited to what we can do along those. They let us put in trails because the same people that don't want us to build anything there like hiking and they like fitness, so they'll allow the trails. They won't allow the lighting and they won't allow any other really improvements along there. So I can't just light all those trails because most of them weave in and out of this. So maybe there was a light here, maybe a light there. We can't run that line along there. The other part of it is if there are a need to be on trails or on concrete at night, walking and stuff, there are miles of lit concrete paths, i.e. sidewalks, up and down Apogee, up and down William Cannon, throughout all the neighborhoods. Does not mean being, snarky about it, but there's places where you can get out and be in lit places. The other large trails are nature trails. So they're not lit because of the restriction of what I can actually build in those environmental zones. But the fact that they're also nature trails, a lot of them go along the backside of people's houses that maybe they don't want lights that are shining in the back of there. But right now we don't have any plan to light those trail connections that are across there. Shade, this is a comment we got on questions. We got it in the survey data. We understand that. You'll see that we added a lot of shade structures in the Skyline Park. We're retrofitting and adding some shade over in Union Village. We're adding shade over the main structure in Prospect Park right now. And in all the future parks, we are looking at temporary, not temporary, but, man-made shade structures. Our overall philosophy is planting more trees. Of course, those take time to actually grow. So we're adding the tent structures where it makes sense. But all in all, we give it some time, we get some more natural shade as well. Part of this is being in Texas. And again, that's not me being facetious. It's like we cannot shade everything. So we're going to try to add it to certain places. We talked about adding permanent shade to the pool deck. We're attacking it in small places, but as soon as we put up some shade structures, there's going to be 20 other places where somebody says, why can't you put a shade structure here? So we're trying to be judicious with it. We're adding a lot of trees. As it comes along, we'll reassess on a regular basis and see if I went and tried to take my kids to Union Village and it just cooked out there, and we have the ability to put stuff there. So that's why we're adding them there in different spots. It's not going to be a retrofit of shade everywhere in Easton, but we're reassessing on a regular basis and also letting some of the foliage grow in. Submit it to the HOA, and we'll take a look at it and see if that makes sense there.
Make sure you tell them the question.
Yep, sorry. All right, and then lastly, pet waste stations. Somebody brought up a very specific location. I have a stack of pet waste stations that we have for that exact reason, that if we're missing one and you can show that there's a big gap between where certain ones are. Now, a lot of people want them right outside their house for convenience and stuff like that. But if you show us a stretch where there's not one, point it out to the HOA and we'll go add one. So we have them there for that reason if we're missing a spot along the trail or something like that. Next slide. Coda Vista and Finial. We got a lot of questions about this where people were saying, what is going on with the roadway? It looks like y'all should connect those two roads. I agree. That is the plan. We are going to connect that. It's something that has been caught up with the county, and I've literally been working on it for 3.5 years, and we just got approved to formally submit our plans. So our goal is to have this started construction before the end of the year. I know it's not near as fast as I would like it, but it's been a real challenge to get it to where we can build the blue and take away the red. So that's what we've been working on. When that happens, yes, Finial will dead end into Coda. Flatbush, if you live in Prospect, that is a way out, but that's kind of a secondary exit. Everyone will now use Coda. That will then help the safety on Finial. I know Finial safety is a big thing. I know at the last townhome, it was insinuated that Brookfield does not care about the safety of Finial. That's not true. We do care, and even though we got told no 5 different times, we went back over the last 3 months and asked again about a 4-way stop at Hillock. Could we justify it? The police department said no, and the county people that build the roads said no. The future of it is ending Finial at Coda will stop a lot of the pass-through traffic. When BB Livin and David Weekly build up their stuff that y'all can see is going in the ground right now, that will naturally slow down things. We are pushing for white stripes, kind of like you see on Apogee. It naturally slows people down. If we can get the permission to do that, we're going to stripe it. And then once that Coda connection is made, then we'll look for a speed limit reduction. We can't get it now because of how the road is classified, but once it's not a thoroughfare, we will look at reducing the speed. So we're taking it seriously. We have fought the good fight on the 4-way stop. It's not happening. Like, we've tried every different angle that we can, and we can't get it to work. But all those other things we're thinking is going to slow down the traffic there, and that's how we're going to address that. And yes, yeah. It's roughly a 6-month job, and I'm saying our goal is to get permission to start building it before the end of the year. So, It's the same width. That one's divided and it's got a bike lane and stuff like that. But when you actually get to the drive lane and where you're allowed to park, because you are allowed to park along Finial, it will just define the parking lanes. And that way visually it brings it in and people naturally slow down. So that's the best we can do to get that to slow down. Okay. That came out of the land team. Oh, the question was who came up with Coda, because it's a great marketing name. Yes, we're trying to plug it into some awesome stuff. So, yep. All right, next slide, commercial update. All right. I think this is really good news. Y'all are going to be excited about this slide. Next slide. All right. So I'm showing you what's going to be there. A lot of this is very familiar. McDonald's, car wash, AutoZone. But I will tell you this, Frost Bank, Enamel Dentistry, Paul's on Chicon, a nail salon. It's got a different marketing name, but it's a large high-end nail salon that uses different names depending where they are, but they're very established in Austin. And Chiba Hut. And Chiba Hut is a toasted sandwich place. They have a spot up next to Via 313 in Central Austin, but here's the kicker. There is a bar in the Chiba Hut. So people have been asking for it. There will be alcohol sold in Easton Park. There will be a bar at the sandwich shop. I told the sandwich people, y'all are going to make more here than you've ever made in your lives. So, so there we go. That's coming. And those that are listed there are all in that building that where the 6 or 5 tenants sit together. They passed their inspection today. Their last green building code inspection. They're hoping to get occupancy by Friday. And in that case, then it's up to all those individual owners to come in there and build into that. So those timelines I don't have, but they are going to be chomping at the bit to build out the inside of their buildings. So I'm hoping these are all things that are open by the end of the year. So with that, the 3 pad owners, the McDonald's, car wash, and AutoZone, those y'all can see for yourself. They're all under construction right now. I can't speak to exactly when they're going to open, but they're trying to get open as soon as they can so they can start turning profit. I will say that those were all sold in 2019. We had questions of why do we have a McDonald's and why do we have an AutoZone? First, I'll say the first time that you think it's a bad idea, but you still find yourself going to McDonald's and getting coffee or going to AutoZone when you need something, you will remember that you thought it was a horrible idea. Number 2, in 2019, we were less built out, and that's when that land was sold. And at that time, only national retailers would come out here and take a speculative bid on a younger community. So because of COVID, because of code changes, because of market changes, that's why we're in 2024 with land that was sold to people 5 years ago when things looked a lot different. So that's kind of a reason. You might see it as an excuse, but that's why we have those stores here. But we're working with all the developers that we sell to make sure that the stuff we're bringing in here matches with Easton Park. I talked about the multi-tenant building coming here soon on their own timelines. All right, across the street. There was a question, is that Easton Park? No, it's not. The stuff on the other side of McKinney Falls, opposite of the CVS, that is not Easton Park. However, we have some insight to those. HEB, we talked with HEB. They are very big advocates of Easton Park. So they are not going to tell us anything more than that. They're not going to give us a timeline. They said it will not happen in 2025 and will not happen in 2026. I don't know anything about that, to be honest. I know. So guys, I think there's a lot of work going on over there. So don't worry about it. Just know that there are people in HEB that believe in Easton Park and are trying to get it there. So that's as best as we got. The other stuff, though, we can announce that there is a Heartland Dentistry and a Dutch Brothers going in. There's another restaurant that I can't announce, but as soon as it gets further, we will. And then the 4th one, all we can allow to say is that Chick-fil-A put in a site plan with the city for that area. So that's public knowledge. It's online. Chick-fil-A put in a site plan for the city. So outside of that, look, y'all are going to ask like I know stuff. I don't. It is public record now that Chick-fil-A has put in a site plan. That's it. So there are good things happening over there. There might be more good things. It's not Easton Park. This is just trying to figure out what's going on. So outside of that, it's not up to us. Timelines aren't there. And if those people never decide to build, they'll never decide to build, okay? That's just what is the current plan right now. Yes? Yes. right? 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 Yep.
A minute ago, you said you're looking at the long term and,
Right.
you're trying to be, aware of what the community wants, and this is a long-term project, and the community will be built out and
Right.
blah, blah, blah. So that kind of sounds a little contradictory.
So I wasn't here in 2019, so
Anything we could do to stop the AutoZone? I mean.
No.
Why?
Right.
It seems-
If you want to stop, I would just don't shop there.
There.
They don't have a lot of shoppers.
So everyone else is gonna come shop there and park their cars there.
Okay.
Working on it.
All right, so, all right, that's, the question is, can we stop the AutoZone? The answer is no. All right, it belongs to someone else, and I think we're doomsday in here. So let's let the AutoZone come here. They have a parking lot. It's something that people will use. Let's let this one play out and not worry too much about it. I'm gonna go on to the next one. The other three communities that are coming, those are all folks, communities that are looking to have their stuff available by the probably early Q4, late Q4. So the Alina Apartments, BB Living, and David Weekly are all coming on there. There was questions about, are there going to be enough parking spots for the apartments? Everything is per code, and it's not that people are following code to the minimum. It's that it's per code, as in the city and the county don't allow you to put in a bunch of extra as well. So parking next to the apartment, what's going to be available there? Again, public roads, codes that they follow whenever they put in the apartments. And that's also not Brookfield. That is an apartment developer that is building their site for that. So the parking is there per code. And then finally, with other topics that were brought up, I'm sorry, I don't have a pretty picture on this one. Future development, there's just a number of questions. What's going on there? Larger lots, are those going to be available? We're looking at many options on the south side. Some of the options are having larger lots. It all, again, depends if there's actually a builder that wants to build those kind of houses, then we will make those kind of lots. For then a builder that thinks there's a customer out there for larger lots. Other builder partners, right now, we have a great lineup that we're happy with, though every time we move into a new community, we reassess and make sure that we got the right lineup of builders. And as far as schools, any updates on that? Easton Park is responsible for providing another school to Del Valley. What kind of school it'll be and when that's going to happen is outside of our control right now. As we get closer to developing the South and we start kind of coming up with plans there, we'll have more intense conversations with Del Valley. But right now, the only obligation is that we're going to work together for a second school site of some sort. That's all I know about the schools. Roadways. If you have issues with the roadways, you need to either talk to the HOA or Travis County. The order in which you do that is up to you. If you call Travis County and it does not belong to them, they'll say, hey, that belongs to Brookfield, in which case, please talk to the HOA, or vice versa. There are a number of roads that belong to the county, but we can affect change on. And there's a number of ones that technically don't belong to the county yet. They're still open in public, but we haven't turned them over. And so those are ones that we can affect. So depending on the issues that you have there with drainage and stuff, I'm aware of them. Trust me, I'm aware of them, where water sits in different places. Colton Bluff is an example that belongs to Travis County. They are aware of it. They said they will get to it within the next year and a half. I apologize. That is the timeline that they've given us. There was a question about Flatbush. That is still within the 1-year warranty of Brookfield. So the problem that we're having with ponding over in there, that is something we will address before we turn that over to them in April. So depending on what roadway it is, depends on how we can attack it. McKinney and Thaxton update. There's a question that said that people called the county and the county said it was Brookfield's fault. The Thaxton and McKinney widening project is 100% a county project. What Brookfield fought for is try to get the road repaired before it gets fixed. And all we got was the milling of the top to take the huge bumps off. So that was Brookfield fighting for Easton Park as much as we could, and at least got that done. It looks horrible, but it drives softer. It's a county-owned road, and it's a county project to widen it. So we're on their timetable of when they're going to do it. We bring it up to them on a regular basis that we really want them to get it done, because it's going to be better for Easton Park. Parking and bike lanes. The sheriff won't enforce this unless there are signs. Travis County says you're not allowed to park in the bike lanes, but they won't allow us to put up signs that say that. On roads that haven't got turned over, like Colton Bluff, we put those signs up along the food truck park. Because we still own the road, so we put the sign there in certain spots. Outside of that, we have to have their permission to do that. So it's a weird conundrum and is not legal to park in bike lanes, but enforcing it is out of our hands.
Signs or will they take them down?
We will all see. We will all see. Okay. The county's not going to support speed bumps. That's been asked a number of times. We're fighting to get stop signs in places, things like that. They do not support speed bumps. If it's necessary, we'll fight as hard as we can to do that. Crosswalks, we agree. There's 2 or 3 places where I would like crosswalks, mid-block crosswalks. We're actually having a meeting about that on Friday, trying to tell our story of why we think that there's a couple of areas where it makes a lot of sense to have those. They've already told us no on that. We're not taking no. We're going to give the good reasons of why it should be. So we're fighting the good fight on trying to get a few crosswalks at a couple different locations. And school zones, those school zones that we got, we fought for that to get those there. Somebody said that they thought the signs were very wordy. It's all per code, and that is what the county will allow, and that's what they installed. So we can have no school zones, or we can have those. We have those. Flashing lights is not a standard within Travis County, so that is not something that we've been able to get done. Water usage is a big thing. For one of the things that Brookfield's taken seriously is we keep the native areas native where we're not irrigating them. That's why you'll see that all around Skyline Park that's grown up right now. That's on purpose. Not only does it look good at certain times, but it's also better for the wildlife. And then also we're not paying to irrigate that. You'll also see that in the medians and on the sides of William Cannon. And a lot of other areas is left native on purpose to help reduce water. Are we going to full xeriscaping? Probably not. We're trying to find a good balance there as we continue to develop. We'll look at that, of applying that at the right times. And the ideas of overwatering or things misting or stuff going off at the wrong hour, when it comes down to it, that equipment is all very cheap. So it gets put in correctly, like all the temporary irrigation, and then it breaks. And then the clocks run out of batteries and things go off the wrong time. So if you see things that are getting overwatered, or there's misting, or it's going off in the middle of the day, let the HOA know. They call me immediately, and we go out and we find whoever owns it to go out and shut it off and fix whatever problem is there. So those are problems we're trying to identify. I would ask that y'all help bring those up as well. With that said, that's the end of my presentation, and I believe we take questions from online in the audience.
Fine. I don't see any. Do we have some?
First, what's up? Mhm.
I'm just curious what that is. I know.
That I know. So the question was, when are we doing the landscaping along McKinney Falls? You'll be surprised when I say this, but it got held up with the county of us having the permission to put in better stuff than already exists. And we won that and got it taken to court a month ago. We're working through getting the contractor out there to start. So that's actually something I know I promised a long time ago, because we thought we were there. We were not there. It went backwards 6 months. We're looking to start that within the next 30 days. So yeah, that stretch along McKinney, sir.
Once storm claims goes through the neighborhood, you anticipate having multiple stop lights or stop signs
So the question was,
going through?
what stop lights are we going to have on Slaughter as it goes through the community? There will be a stoplight at Thaxton and Slaughter. There will be a stoplight at Apogee and Slaughter. There will be a stoplight at 1625 in Slaughter, and there will be a light at 183 in Slaughter. So there'll be. Mm-hmm. Sure.
Cars,
Great.
three-wheelers going home,
Mhm.
and they go up and down Slaughter, and it really serves the neighborhood a lot. But with multiple areas that they have to stop, and that'll eliminate or at least reduce that problem.
Yes, sir. So, yep, those 4 intersections be going in on day 1. Yep.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Seems that other communities across the street is having quite a lot of commercial success. Can you give an update on the Easton Park Town Center?
Okay, I believe the community they're talking about is, they're either talking about the stuff that's right across from CBS, which is, we addressed that. I'll be frank with you, that commercial success is because of Easton. So technically that's not in Easton, but that is, no kidding, them bringing that on. And you'll see that Goodnight Ranch, they're our closest other neighbor. They have built those commercial buildings and they've had them sitting there for a while. And it's taken a while to fill them out. So they're in the same kind of genesis we are. So I think I think we're all experiencing the same market and we're going to see the same pickup. So yeah, they've announced a few stores now that I think are going to fill up. So there's some signs out there, so it's coming. But yes, sir. I'll take yours, and then we have a second one as well. Yep.
So maybe just keep in mind, like business update, if that's possible, from the sellers of, we sold this many more houses this quarter, or this month for the townhouse. Probably said, just to give us a general indicator of things are in the upswing, things are hard right now, something to, I know we can't get direct reports, right, and certain financial limitations, but at least a finger wag of 20% more houses than last quarter.
And consider it. I'll tell you that those are not numbers that people like to share. You know, and when things get tough, people aren't really looking to advertise that things are not as great as they used to be or stuff like that. So there's a lot of things you can see with prices indicate a lot of things. And then, I mean, most of what you read in the newspaper is pretty accurate with where the overall market's going. We'll look at it and see what's available, but we have a hard enough time getting all that information out of everyone as it is, even on the development side, because it's just, it's things that people keep pretty close because that's their proprietary kind of business operations. So what was the other one? Google Fiber. All right, so I'll be as frank as I can with this. I know that the first time Brookfield engaged with them was in 2019 before I got here. I know I met with them mid 2020. Since that time, I've met with them 7 or 8 times. Every time we meet, there is a new Google team that has a new plan of how they're going to be here at Easton. And within 3 or 4 months, that plan disappears. And then we have another setup. So we had a meeting with them on yesterday with a new team of a new plan that's coming in. So we're not gonna, Brookfield is we're supporters of Google coming here. There are public easements that follow all of our public roads. As soon as Google wants to be here, they will be here. And we have been as advocates and as accommodating as possible to bring them into our neighborhood. We're waiting for Google to come here. We're all over that, all over that. We're not gonna let Google tear up anything. So we're very square on that. Yes, we're in alignment and we're aware of that. So that's a lot of the meetings is explaining our standards here and expecting Google to follow those. So, sir.
And that, and what the timeline looks like for those to be finished.
You're saying prospect to discovery?
So you have a picture of the green and the yellow. Where the standards are right now. There's that green belt that runs there. There's already one connection. It's the one you just.
Two. I just walked them both this morning. So okay. Let me look at that. I'd have to go. Let me look at just right. I'll look right. There's a coming soon.
Yellow trail. It's the coming soon Easton Trails. This right here. That is one of those. Is that
the 2 and only connections between Discovery and Pilot and Prospect are both in right now. Yep. All those are in there. I'm sorry, I can't see it that close on there, but this connection right here,
Yeah.
there is one that goes right here. And there is one that goes right there. There are two connections to Prospect and Discovery, and they're both in the ground right now.
Right, but I should think, we know, we don't finish, yeah, because right now.
Oh, you mean this chunk in there?
Yeah, yeah, because right now.
This is that
tall grass.
that graphics is not quite correct. There's
Retention. pond.
a couple of changes there. That's a little bit more pictorial. What you see is what you get right now. When you go walk between Prospect and Discovery, those are the trails that are going to be in there. So. I can't say specifically, but the answer is no. The two trail connections that are there are what's in the ground right now. So if you want to, after the meeting, if you want to talk to me, I'm very curious now exactly where it is, but let's move on. Like, I'm curious what spot you're talking about. I can talk to you afterwards. Okay. The timeline for Slaughter, much like the amenity center, is induced based on us building more houses that need it in the south. And I know that's not the answer y'all want of exactly when. It changes. It changes monthly when we look at different things and why we would build certain things and why we would invest in certain stuff. And it's one of those things that's it's a moving target that we monitor on a regular basis. So if I knew, I'd sleep better at night. Yes.
Aspen is like a roller coaster of a road, and the amount of danger of all the cars that
Yes.
drive in the middle
In
of
the
the
middle.
yellow line on both sides.
So the question was, who owns Sassman? Very firmly, the county owns it. The last time we talked about them fixing Thaxton, we said, next up, you have to fix Sassman. They told us there was not money in the budget right now. We bring it up on a regular basis. Our office is on Sassman. We are very aware of it. I take Sassman every time I go to South Park Meadows. It's awful and it's a roller coaster and it's unsafe. We've made our concerns known to Travis County, like we've said in previous meetings. Anytime y'all want to pick up the phone or send an email to Travis County and tell them that you're displeased with the road quality, we'd recommend that you do it. So there's somebody in the back that I don't know if it's just. Mhm.
And last year, we complained about this because they were out there until almost midnight. This year they were out there again, and there was debris all over the place. The wind was blowing. A lot of the fireworks went in the direction of the houses on Best Right Bend. Is there some way, I mean, even if it's temporary, at least get like a sign there that says no fireworks?
I'm gonna
Because these people, again.
let you answer.
And I know that they spent $465 on the fireworks because they left not only the bag, but also the receipt. I mean, there's stuff all over the place.
Did they have a name on it? No, just kidding.
Yeah. and the state is a tiny.
Yeah.
And he has a credit card number on it. But you can get like-
That's a question I'll refer to the HOA for.
Yeah, and that's something that happens at like every community I've ever been at. The rule is no fireworks.
Well, this
And it-
particular place,
Bad.
they think it's perfect because it's all open on the other side towards Slaughter. But I mean, they come there, I mean, the dogs, like my granddog was 7 months old. And this is right across the street from the bed.
Yeah, the only thing you can,
At night.
really the only thing you can do is to call the non-emergency line of the sheriff's department and report it.
Yeah, we did that, but unfortunately, they showed us that people left.
Yeah.
Plus, it's in the county, so probably a civil suit's your best thing. It's not against, yeah, it's not against the rules to fire from your own property in city, and county area. In the city, it's a different story. So I saw people discharging in the street, but I don't have the authority to intervene. So,
Well, this is HOA land.
yeah, well, that's the question next, when we get to choose the HOA.
Anyway.
Could the HOA hire somebody, law enforcement, during the 4th of July, the first, to come and patrol the area.
Well, that's certainly an option.
They would have the authority.
Well, that you can hire off-duty police officers. I've done it for other things, like, we had a condo that people would come in and park and they weren't allowed to park there, so we had to hire a police officer. It does cost money. So that's an idea though. And we can take a look at that for the next 4th of July. Find out what it is. Good idea.
Probably more.
You know, we can't put up, flammable fences, but people can set off fireworks.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, that's a good idea. We'll look into that for sure.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Could you talk a little bit about the HOA fees when you're selling the house? But specifically, I think there's a over $2,000 fee called the enhancement fee. And what that's for, there's a ton of fees there. So when you're selling a house, that's all HOA fees. Could you explain that?
Well, generally when you, and I haven't been here long enough to know exactly what every single one of them is, but in general, there's always like an enhancement fee or a working capital fee is so that when the next person comes in, that they're helping to buy into your community, that they're helping to support your amenities and getting things fixed and the staffing. That's usual that they'll do it and charge a fee for the next person to come in, because that just goes into your HOA. It goes into your ability to buy things and continue to keep upgrading things and getting shade structures and all of that. That's what those fees are for.
Still enumerate.
Yes, usually it's on.
I know, maybe it's, I'm thinking of something totally different. We just switched something to pay our HOA.
That's for your homeowners to account assessment, so that's separate. You still use your communication for your rate, but it's on the end that.
Last one.
I was just curious, why is the county push so much, like push back so much on safety? Like, we want to put crosswalks in the neighborhood, we want to put a stop sign, like, why is it for officers to pay for it?
That they're a county that's set up and their governing documents are set up like a rural Texas city. So their main goal is to minimize maintenance, to increase traffic flow from one farm town to another. And so even though that they are owning one of the largest cities in Texas, they're set up in a way that reflects a rural county. And so there's just things that when they look at stuff like signs, they're thinking of the fact that when someone knocks it over, they'll have to go set it back up. When it rusts out, they'll have to replace it. And so they're thinking it's a lot of those things where that's where their head is move traffic as fast as possible. Don't put stop signs unless you have to have it. And if you want to put a stop sign or speed limit, prove to us that you need it. It's just, it's a different mindset of the way that they're set up. We're in this weird spot where we're very much Austin, but we're governed by a county that's set up more like we're out in the farm. So that's kind of sorry for people online. The question was, why does the county push back on stuff like that? So it's not that they're just being combative. It's that they are set up in a different way that does not jive with a urban community that's being built out here. So, all right, with that said.
Okay, well,
I
thank
think we're
you
gonna
all
wrap it
for
up.
coming. My last slide does have our email on there that you can always, send in any kind of questions. Certainly can come by. There's our phone number. If you think of anything that didn't come up today and you want to get an answer for, just email us, really, anytime.
Cool.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right.
Can you bring your butt?
Ellie.